Part one of my mentorship series for junior entry level, sort of early career, technical individual contributor or technical leader. Starts out with career goals, but this isn't going to be the kind of career goal planning that you're used to. Most of us are used to that corporate career goal planning. The goal of corporate career goals is for you to serve the company better. Don't confuse that with your career goals. The business you work for does not necessarily have all of your best interests in mind. So your career goals there at the company you're at right now, or any company that you begin to work for in the future, those are going to be collaborative goals where you are integrating what it is that you want to do with the role that you're in and the business needs. This is not that. These goals are completely different because these are absolutely self-serving. You may have family to consider. You may have other external considerations. And that's not what I mean by self-serving. They are internally versus externally or collaboratively motivated. If you're very early on in your career, you feel like you're self-motivated. You feel like everything that you do is inspired by what you want to do. As if you are in control of all of the elements, and you're probably not. The first realization I want you to have is to go back, look at all the goals that you have for yourself and ask yourself, is this something someone else told me I should want? Or is this something I actually want? That's a critical question. Go back and reevaluate everything. Because right now you got a list of goals in front of you and they're probably company goals. Then you're going to step back a little bit and you're going to say, well, this is more what I want. But I want you to then, when you look at that second set of goals, ask yourself, is that really you speaking? Or is that someone speaking through you? Very frequently, our parents influence our goals well into our 20s, sometimes all the way into our 30s. Is that a reflection of what you also want? Did they reveal something about you that maybe you didn't realize about yourself? We can have good mentors, we can have family members, close friends do that for us. And so this is the concept of taking feedback versus relinquishing control. So did you decide upon that goal because someone gave you feedback and that feedback gave you an insight into yourself? Or are these goals a reflection of you relinquishing control? This is the beginning of becoming internally motivated, which is why goals are the first thing that you have to do. But it isn't a quick exercise. Most people just sit down, rattle off some goals over the course of a half day. That's that. That's goal planning. No, it's not. And then you go to that SMART, measurable. You do this the SMART. It's not. That's not it either. The first piece of goals evaluation is looking at yourself and saying, did I decide upon this goal? And incorporating that feedback sort of framework that I've just given you, where did I take feedback and it revealed something about me that I maybe didn't know or reinforced something about myself that I did? Or did I relinquish control? Because it is much easier to give someone else control of our goals than to retain those goals ourselves. So that's where you begin to evaluate your own goals. Every time you write your goals down, I want you to look at that goal and answer the question, why is that important to you? What you're going to come to is a statement of values and defining characteristics. This will precede your goals. This will back up and explain why each one of these goals is so important. Because your statement of values, what is it that's valuable to you? What is it that's important to you? And then the second half of that is, what characteristics do you choose to define yourself? Those are going to help you understand the why, the reasoning, the rationale. Why does this goal come from you? And more critically than that, why is it important to you? What is it about that goal that either extends from the characteristics you choose to define yourself or those things that you choose to place value in? Value can be placed in family, in friendship, in having experiences like travel that you really enjoy. Values can be anything you want them to be, anything that you want to place value on. That goes into your values. And then deciding your defining characteristics. What are the characteristics that you would want someone to say, I got to know you, and what struck me most were, and then they would rattle off your characteristics. And they would be able to talk about those characteristics with actions. This is what showed me this trait, this characteristic. And it told me this person values. And you see the connection. And now you can start talking about goals from an internal motivation versus an external motivation, because you've chosen values and characteristics. Now you're ready to write those goals down. 2 things you need that are even more important than goals, because you probably know this. Goals change. You achieve goals, and so now you need a new one. Or you change. You decide on new values. You change the characteristics you want to define yourself by. That will change your goals. We change throughout life. That's just how it is. So this is a framework that will carry with you through your entire life and allow you to define goals. But beyond that, there has to be something higher, because you want to hold to some sort of longer term, even beyond the long-term goals. And that is purpose and vision. You don't have those yet. Maybe you do. There are rare exceptions. People who are young and have this sense of purpose, have the sense of vision that will stick with you your entire life. These are the 2 themes your life will be based around, is a sense of discovery of purpose and you defining and then building out your vision. You'll find all of your goals are connected to this sense of purpose that you find for your life, for yourself, and this vision for this is what today looks like. This is what I want tomorrow to look like. That's what a vision is. First, you create a vision and then you make it real. Your vision and your purpose, they connect with each other. They line up with your statement of values. In many cases, your vision and purpose are the reason why you hold those things valuable. They are the reason why you choose the traits and characteristics that define you. So those will often point you in the right direction of your purpose and of your vision. If you don't have that today, don't worry about it. There are people in their 60s still trying to find purpose and vision, but they do it accidentally. The reason why most people get into middle age or even old age and do not have a sense of purpose and vision is because they've never spent time consciously thinking about it. Part of goal setting is understanding where your goals come from. They come from that sense of purpose and vision that is extended out by your values, the characteristics you choose to define yourself. And then that all becomes, here are the goals. Here are the things that I want to achieve. But you understand why now. You are internally motivated, not externally motivated. So what should the goals, what do they look like? First things first, you can hear it. Your personal and professional goals are always interlinked. There is no way to separate the two because you don't become a different person. Even though you may play a different role or put on a mask at work, you're still you under the surface. So those goals are not different. They are still driven by the same person who personal goals are driven by as well. You don't change. And so your goals are fundamentally driven by the same dynamics. So the personal and professional are always linked. And as long as you align goals that way, so that your professional goals line up with your personal goals, you'll feel that sense of alignment and you'll get more job satisfaction and more professional satisfaction if you have that alignment. If your personal life and your professional life are always fighting with each other, can you be moving in a single direction? Oh, you can't. Your personal goals and your professional goals must support each other, and they must come from that same internal motivation That's critical. So now that they're aligned, every goal has to have a metric. And so you know that. The one thing most people are not taught is that you don't shoot for a number. You don't shoot for a single outcome. You shoot for a range. There is outperform, expectations. This is what you think you can get. And then underperform. Sometimes you achieve a goal, but you don't achieve all of it. You've underperformed, and that's a good place to reevaluate. What went wrong? What happened? Yeah, you pulled yourself across the finish line, but next time you want to do a better job, right? And so the outperform means something went really well. It's a good thing to figure out. Expectations mean, what could I have improved? I didn't have anything drastic that went wrong, but I didn't make outperform either. So what could have been done better next time so that maybe I get a little closer to outperform in my next goal? And then finally, that underperform. It explains that it's okay. You're going to run into struggles. Sometimes you're going to have to drag yourself across finish lines. That's okay. As long as you continue to improve, that's all that matters. But that gives you a realistic range. Gives you a guideline so that if you don't hit a perfect number, that doesn't mean you failed. That's pretty critical. Everything has metrics, but every metric has a range. Time is never going to be one of them. You do not time box your goals. That's a hard one, isn't it? Because everybody else tells you got to have it in this time box. Here's how long you have to achieve it. No. If you time box anything, you have now limited yourself. That time box may be way too much time. And so you are not as efficient as you could possibly be. And on the other side of that, if you don't achieve a goal by that certain date, it doesn't mean you failed, but you can make yourself feel like a failure. What are you going to do? Stop because you didn't make it by Thursday? I mean, really? If your goal is to, get a pizza and you didn't get one by Thursday, you're just never going to have a pizza again? Come on. The goal, it's not tied to a date. It's a goal. It's something you want. You're not going to stop wanting it on that day, and you're not a failure because you hit it afterwards. So you don't want to limit yourself. And at the same time, you do not want to make yourself feel like a failure when you're not. Timelines are often arbitrary. If you don't see the full path to your goal, especially if it's a long-term one, that day becomes a limiting factor in every single case. So to achieve some outcome by day Y, that is a setup to fail. You want to optimize for success, not some arbitrary date. You want to set yourself up to be most likely to succeed, not to be likely to succeed by Wednesday. What happens on Thursday? What if you make it on Thursday? Many people give up their goals because they feel like they're falling short. They're not moving fast enough. Many people will not optimize for success. They'll optimize for time because they feel like they're falling behind. So now you are less likely to be successful because you put a date on something, and that date doesn't really matter. You feel like it's driving a sense of urgency. What it could be driving is a sense of desperation. It could be blinding you to the things that have to happen and preventing you from doing them because you say, I don't have time to do this. But in reality, you won't be successful if you don't. That date will destroy your goals. So those are the two aspects of goals specifically that I tell people about is ranges, no dates. Optimize for success, not optimize for success by Thursday or some just random optimize. I feel like this is an optimal day. It's probably not. So that is the most important points of building your career goals. Work to become internally versus externally motivated, but take feedback without relinquishing control. Create your values, statement of values, and defining characteristics. Support those with purpose and vision so that you have this complete understanding of why you have chosen the goals that you have, and that helps you understand that you are internally motivated versus being externally motivated. Remember, the personal and the professional are always linked. You must be aligned across both parts of your life. Create goals with ranges. And then finally, no time boxing. If you follow those steps, you will have a far more successful goal planning exercise. And that's what time it is to do. Statement of purpose and values. Defining characteristics and vision. It might be interlinked. So put all those together. Start with your statement of values and defining characteristics, move on to purpose and vision, and then begin to write your goals. And evaluate every iteration of goal writing with an eye towards, is this something that I came up with for myself, or is this something that someone else told me was important to do? So get to it. Set some goals.